Hello and welcome. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how I painted this small house. As some of you guys know, this house is 720 square feet, and I'm going to paint this all by myself here so I can save a couple of bucks. And what you're seeing me do now is I'm cutting in with a brush in the corners. So that's what you do basically, and anytime your roller has trouble getting into corners, that's what you do with a regular brush. So when you do that with a brush, just make sure you get a good one so the bristles don't come out. Usually I use Purdy or Worcester. Those are the go-to brushes that I use. And I paint a little bit differently than a lot of people. I like to get up close and personal, as you can see me here painting. The motion is always going to be up and down, and that's what I try to carry throughout the whole house. You see how I just went over that? And this way, when I'm so close to the paint, when I'm painting it, I can see all the clumps and all the dust particles or anything. See how I'm sweeping it? Everything that develops once you start rolling the roller and the paint onto the wall. So by doing it this way, your walls, if you pay attention to what you're doing, your walls are going to be very, very smooth. Because I never use textured drywall, the walls, the finishes, because I don't like the texture look. So I always go with solid, smooth finish on my drywall. And this is the way I paint. It slows it down dramatically because you can paint this house a lot faster if you go the traditional way with the extension rod. And see here, you can just knock this out. This section of the wall, just so you know, it took me about an hour to do, which you can do a lot faster, obviously, if you went with just the extension rod. So that's just the way I do it. As long as it looks good at the end, it doesn't really, there is no right or wrong. If you do it yourself, you can save yourself a nice chunk of change by doing this and not having to pay somebody to do it. And all you have to do is just take your time and just make sure that the paint doesn't run. Everything is smooth. There's no dust or clumps in the paint when you're painting. And you can save yourself easily. I mean, a house of this size, if I had to price this out for someone, I'd probably charge anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 to do it. That's if I was going to do it. So you can save yourself a nice chunk of change. You can use that money elsewhere in your build. And pretty much anybody can do this. If I can do this, anybody can do this. And as you can see, I'm trying to keep that pattern going up and down. So if there's, for whatever reason, if there is anything that you can see, everything is in the same direction. And that's just what I do to the whole house. The paint was from Sherwin, but I also get paint from Home Depot. And usually when I do get paint from Home Depot, I get the dark blue buckets, which are a little bit higher quality than the red ones. And Sherwin-Williams, their paint is pretty darn good. So the ones that I used were about $65 a gallon. And I get contractor pricing, so I get a discount on that. So they came up a little bit over $30 a gallon. So I think that's like 40% off or something like that. And you can get very close to that pricing, by the way, as just a regular person. You just got to catch a good sale. So if you're thinking of painting anything in your house, just check in on any kind of holidays, or maybe they're running a sale. Which Sherwin-Williams runs the 30% off sales actually quite often. So you can save yourself a nice chunk of change. And same thing with Home Depot, they have sales on their paint as well. So you just got to keep your eyes open, and then you can buy the paint and paint whenever there's a sale. And that's usually how I try to do things. Sometimes I double dip and I get the discounts and some kind of a holiday sale or mail-in rebate. And that's how I do it. So 8 gallons at a little bit over $30 a gallon. So you can do the math how much that was. And this is how it turned out. So it turned out pretty darn good. The paint color of this is very close to the actual color of drywall, which was messing with my brain a little bit. So that was just interesting. It's a nice color. It's got a kind of like a dull, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a very relaxing color. It might not look much because it is gray, but it's a pretty cool color. It's not obnoxious. It's just nice and mellow. And once I start trimming the windows out, which you're gonna see in the next episode, you'll see how this house is going to change. Because on the ceiling here, there's going to be tongue and groove. So you want to stick around and subscribe and see how that happens. And then you'll see me putting trim around the windows as well. See how that's going to change the house. Because it would have been cheaper just for the drywaller to wrap the windows in drywall, but I like to add character to my home, so that's why I always trim it out. Not always, but most of the time I try to trim it out with wood. It's not that much more money. And that's the first little bathroom. Everything turned out good. There's like 1 or 2 spots that I gotta touch up, and there's a couple of screws that I have to cover up because they're too far up off the floor. When the guys were hanging the drywall, the screws are up and the drywallers missed it. But it's no big deal at all. That's not a problem at all. It's an easy fix. So that's where the ceiling fan is. And if you can notice, I like to paint my ceilings the same color as the walls. That way, in my opinion, it makes it look more complete. And honestly, it's easier and faster for me since I don't have to worry about any kind of taping, and I don't have to worry about getting the wall paint or ceiling paint on the walls and vice versa, the wall paint onto the ceiling. And that just makes it look complete, in my opinion. I don't know how people seem to like it. Some people might not, but I like it. It just makes it look, if you're gonna put some color on the walls, I think that's the best way to do it. White ceilings, it just doesn't do anything for me. This to me looks a little bit better. And once, like I said, once I trim everything out, it should really pull together very, very nicely once the floor is in and the trim is in and doors are in. So that's one way to do it. That's where the ceiling fan is, and that's where the cassette is going to be for the mini split, because this house has a mini split system. And this is the main bedroom, and that's the main closet. About 2 feet, I forgot the exact measurement, but about 2 feet by 8 feet. And then the full length going up. This is the main bathroom. All that crazy, that's the plumbing right there that you just saw. And I still got some cleaning to do right here with the shower, where there's some drywall residue in the shower and on the edges, but once again, it's an easy fix, no problem. Basically, the job came out good. I have no complaints. That's the stackable washer dryer to the left, and then you'll have the water meter, the water heater to the right. And that's it. That's a short little tour. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.